last race on the bill is the women's distance medley relay, and the Oregon Ducks have the collegiate record. Volunteers of Tennessee with the NCAA meet record from 9 years ago, and Virginia Tech with the best time in the country this year. The last teams to sweep the distance medley relays was Michigan back in 2005, and our statistician Dave Milner bet their coach that it could happen again this year for Virginia Tech. We get a chance to see that that'll be the case. Same configuration, 1,200 meters is the lead-off distance, then at 400 and 800, and they finish it off with a 1,600. VTech has got the number 2 time in the country. There's their lead-off runner, Katie Kennedy, who has the 1,200 meter duties. On paper, the number 1 time in the country, Boise State. They'll be down in lane 1. New Mexico also in here with a good team, Clemson. So a very competitive DMR to finish things off. The number 1, 2, and 3 finishers in the ACC championships a couple of weeks ago are in this field. 12 teams, 8 score.
Stanford has come very close in the last couple of years of winning right down to less than really tenths of a second. They have a strong team entered here too. We'll see what happens there. Stanford on the inside lane right now, tied for the lead. 33 seconds for the first lap.
The Cardinal were the runner-ups at this event last year. Oregon was 3rd, BYU 4th. So many of the teams perennially in this final. And they chase those times all around the country. The top 16, or the top 12 teams, I should say, are invited here to the NCAA championships. And Larry always spoke about the conversions they do from oversized tracks and from altitude. And that's why Boise State is ranked number 1, though the fastest time run is by Virginia Tech.
And Larry, I did a little bit of research coming in here on how long they'd been running this race. It looks like from 1967, the men have been running the DMR here at the NCAA championships, but only about 1981 or 82 did the women put it into the NCAA program.
And that's because the NCAA started doing women's championships at that time too.
I believe that, I think that Clemson's runner went down on that backstretch. We'll have to try and check it. Let's take a look. It is Clemson.
Oh,
and she may have been clipped from the back. It's hard to know. You know, they're running in a group. You get that back kick. And Clemson, one of the leading teams coming in here. That's a shame.
Jessica Hull from Oregon has the lead right now for this 1,200 meter leg. As they come up, they'll have 400 meters to go here.
So Oregon, followed by Stanford and Virginia Tech.
2:13 at 800 meters with a 400 meters still left to run for Hull as she leads the race.
Boise State currently in 4th. And that fall by Clemson has put them way back, probably 60 meters off the lead. That's a shame for a very good team, a team that could have contended.
The second best time in the field here based on performances to get here, Virginia Tech. That might be pretty cool to take these 2 titles back if you're VTech.
Hasn't happened in 13 years since Michigan did it.
Well, and I'm not sure we're going to get Virginia Tech's best team out there because Rachel Prokraski's gonna be in that final of the 800 meters tomorrow, and I don't see her down there on the track.
Yeah, she's not in the lineup. She's been replaced. As Boise State now jumps into the lead as it comes to the exchange. Boise State followed by Oregon, VTech, and Stanford.
Now it's going to be really interesting for Boise State as they have on their anchor the great distance runner Allie Ostrander, better known at 3,000 meter steeplechase, 3, 5, and 10. Look at Oregon fly here.
Well, we talked at the top of the show how Oregon wasn't the team that they've been in the past, and it's a little bit different situation for Oregon to be in here, coming into an NCAA championship as an underdog. And not favored to win either of the team titles, the first in a decade. Stanford now moving up in second place. And Virginia Tech still hanging in there, still holding position in third. Boise State slipping back to fourth. Here comes the handoff to the 800-meter leg. And that was not such a smooth transition and baton pass for Oregon. But they still maintain the lead. Stanford right there in second. That is Elise Cranny, who ran the mile qualifier and qualified through earlier today. And for Virginia Tech, that is Lori Barton, keeping the Hokies close.
Craney has served as their anchor in the past, and running here the 800-meter leg for Stanford, the Cardinal. On paper, the top teams were Boise State. On past performances, Virginia Tech, and they are right up there in the front. Oregon also was number 6 rated of the 12 teams coming in.
So it's still anybody's race up front with Oregon, followed by Stanford, then Virginia Tech. Boise State is back to 5th, and Indiana currently in 4th.
Missy Mongiovi for Stanford ran her leg in 53.3 for her 400-meter leg to get them right back up where they are in second place.
200 meters remaining.
Yep.
Oregon, Stanford, VTech, Indiana, Boise State starting to fade. So it could be a tight handoff.
Right, I find myself smiling. I look at this. These are the powerhouse track and field programs, you know, in middle distance running.
Virginia Tech is going to hand off in first place. Yes, does she drop? No, she's not dropping in. Now she drops in. So Virginia Tech into the lead, followed by Oregon, then Stanford, then Indiana.
Sarah Edwards is their 4:34 miler, and she is going to anchor here for Virginia Tech. This is going to be interesting. Lily Burden doing the anchor duties for Oregon's strong team. Christina Aragon, whose dad was a great miler in his own right, is running anchor 1,600-meter leg for Stanford.
And Boise State's 800-meter runner really dug a hole for Allie Ostrander. They are well back in 6th or 7th place? 7th place. Easily 40-45 meters off. But we've seen it happen. Carissa Schweitzer came from way back at the SEC meet for the Tigers of Missouri.
Catherine Resever, the anchor for Indiana. She's had great success here at both their conference level and at the NCs last year.
So it's a tightly bunched group of 4 up at the front.
Lori Barton's 800-meter leg was an outstanding 2:03.88 seconds, and that was the fastest other than Indiana's, which had almost the exact same time for the relay legs for their school, handing off to these anchors.
Allie Ostrander has Boise State up to 5th place and maybe 35 meters off the lead. So she's very smartly trying to chip away lap by lap, not trying to get the bulk of it back too quickly. That would just be a death sentence.
This is really tough for her to overcome the talent that's up there. They're more milers than she is. Her stamina can make a difference, and she's going to chop things down here. But we've got some very good milers who are up in front here.
I remember she was the star of the NCAA outdoor meet last year, just running just great gutty races. But you're right, Larry. That's just a long, long gap to try to make up.
It's really tough. In fairness,
she's out there by herself.
Yep. But I've been in situations like this, Dwight, and I didn't mind being alone. I would focus on the person who's last up in the group in front, and I'd say, "Am I closer? Get a little closer now." You know, you really can talk to yourself. You don't feel like you're lost out there.
3 laps remaining, and it is Oregon looking very strong, but any one of those 4 teams up front have a shot at it.
They're running right now at about a 4:33 pace here, the second half of this 1,600-meter anchor. The pace is very solid and being pushed hard here by Lily Burton from Oregon.
Sarah Edwards has her hands full for VTech with Oregon and Stanford in front of her.
Very true.
400 meters remaining, 2 laps, and it's anybody's race. Oregon, Stanford, Virginia Tech, and Indiana.
68-second lap there with another 400 to go. Burton is definitely trying to separate and break up this pack with pushing the pace the way she is. Not having that much success at trying to break away from these guys. Receiver falling off the back there.
They're lapping the Notre Dame runner and coming up on Clemson. 1 lap remaining, and it is Oregon, Stanford, Virginia Tech, with IU, Indiana falling off the back. They got to lap a runner here.
Wow. Somebody's going to have something left down the back stretch.
Very inopportunely placed runner there as some of them have to pass her on the curve, going wide. Less than 100 meters remaining. Oregon continuing to hang on. Stanford right there. Sarah Edwards for B-Tech just doesn't have it in the tank. Virginia Tech will not sweep. It's Oregon and Stanford, the back 12 right down to the wire, and I think Oregon got it on the inside.
Wow. Another near success of victory for Stanford.
You know, their team may not be the strongest, and it certainly was hurt by the turning pro of Hannah Cunliffe, their great sprinter. But you know what? Oregon just seems to always find a way to win.
That is the 4th fastest time all time run for the distance medley relay. Kind of an American event, but nonetheless, just great performances year after year collegiately. They just get stronger and better. Here's Boise State with a great 1,200-meter leadoff leg, passing the stick first. Oregon right with them simultaneously, getting the better exchange, and they wind up taking the lead, and Boise State would fall back from there after this exchange. Good 400-meter leg. They're virtually even again, but the 800-meter leg slipped and fell back for Boise State quite definitely, and Lily Burton got the baton. And along with Virginia Tech's Sarah Edwards, and this pack would run as a group until late in the race when Indiana would fall off, and we'd have virtually a photo finish. The difference being a mere 3/100ths of a second on the finish between Christina Aragon and Lily Burton. Wow. Wow, what a finish.
After almost 11 minutes of running, this is what it comes down to in the final finishing straight. A legacy runner in Aragon, her father Chuck, a very good miler for the U.S. Oregon wins it at 10:51.99. Stanford breaks their school record with a second place finish of 10:52.02, and Virginia Tech trying to turn the sweep after their men had won it. They end up third in 10:53.62, season bests for more than half the field in this DMR final.